I've noticed saying yes gets you a lot farther than saying no. That seems really obvious, but I ask you how many times you said no because you were tired or didn't feel like it. And then soon after, you regret it. Or I ask you the amount of times that you've turned down certain opportunities because they seem too hard or stupid. I'm not trying to tell you that you need to say yes to every single thing that any single person asks of you, but I want to encourage you to stop making excuses to not do things because they seem out of reach. About 6 months ago, I was in class and asked my closest friend if he wanted to walk 27 miles to an all-you-can-eat buffet, and he said yes. I found all the things I needed within a week. I found a backpack, like a backpack on Facebook Marketplace, and the rest of my items around my house. And then we just started walking. It was probably the hardest thing that I've ever done in my life. Neither of us had walked more than 4 miles at a time or so, and neither of us had like proper walking shoes or very much experience backpacking.
Excruciating pain, constantly. No relief, really. The only thing I'm looking forward to is a cosmic brownie.
We persevered, and it was really, really hard, but I look back on it fondly. Through the night, we tried finding a place to camp, but we were on private property apparently, and we got kicked out. So we had to walk in the middle of the night to go find some trees on some public land that sucked.
Came to what is public land. We were told it's public lands, so these are the only legal trees that we can camp on within 5 miles of here. My fucking hammock snapped. Spent the first hour of the night slowly sliding down this entire hill.
We made it through the night. We continued walking, and again, it was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done, but it seems kind of weird that I look back on it fondly, right? One of the hardest things I've ever done in my life was enjoyable. But I believe the whole point of human existence is to improve and make connections. And you can't really do that without challenge. And maybe that's what makes difficult things so fulfilling. It may not be enjoyable in the moment, but you'll look back on it and be proud of what you've done. And when you go through difficult times with another, it can bring you much closer. And during more hard times in the future with that person, you'll look back at those difficult times and laugh and say that we've been through so much more and that this is nothing compared to what we've done. So I want to encourage you to keep moving forward and to seek out challenge. Stagnant water loses its purity and in cold weather it becomes frozen. Even so does inaction sap the vigor of the mind. A quote by motherflippin' Leonardo da Vinci. This guy's been kind of spitting since 1452, and I think he kind of knows what's up. But what he's saying here, I believe, is that once you kind of stop doing what you're supposed to be doing, you become something you're not. This is just another reason to go do something you're not sure of. Go talk to that stranger, go ask that person out that you really want to, start that new hobby that you really want to, and start planning that trip that you've been saying that you've been wanting to do forever, and actually start committing to it. Uncertainty is kind of exciting. If you've watched some traveling videos, a prominent part of them I've noticed is uncertainty. They don't know where they're going, they don't know where they're sleeping, they don't know where they're going to eat, they don't even know like what they're going to do that day. And I have to agree that it's a lot of fun. Not really having a written out plan is so much fun. Last summer, me and some buddies wanted to travel the state and go to as many skate parks as we could within a 4-day span, but aside from skating, we didn't really know what we were doing. We had no idea where we were going to get food. We had no idea what we were going to do if we got bored of skating. We didn't even really know where we were going to sleep until we realized it was starting to get dark out. But those are all the reasons why that was probably my favorite trip that I've ever gone on. I'm not saying you need to live every day like this, but I am saying that you should try to be a little more spontaneous. The most fun parts of life are when someone asks you to do something and without really much of a second thought, you just say yes. So next time it's 9 p.m. and you're falling asleep in your bed and your buddy calls you to drive over to a nearby city to go do something and you don't think it's worth it, it's worth it.
Okay. Oh my god! Holy.
if you haven't seen it, I went on a 4-day trip with some buddies around neighboring towns and cities from our hometown, where we didn't really know what we were doing or sleeping or eating. We really had no idea what we were doing. The only certainty that we had were the skate parks that we were visiting. And it was so much fun figuring out everything as we went. We would find really beautiful natural bodies of water to like bathe in. And if we had downtime or we were tired of skating, we would try to go find interesting things to do. Like we went to probably the worst mini golf resort, if you could even really call it that. But luckily for me, I was around people that made it so much more fun to be there, even though the activity itself was just not that great. Being able to make the most of crappy situations, I think, is a very important skill for people to learn and try to enjoy. Like, for example, that golfing thing. Some people would just say this sucks, and they would put their clubs away and would have left. But the people I was with made it a lot more fun, and we tried to make the most out of it. Or recently we went to probably one of the smallest parks that we've ever been to for snowboarding, and I wasn't having a great time being there, I'll be honest. But the other two I was with, they were enjoying themselves, and they were trying to make out of it. And that encouraged me to try to make at least somewhat something out of it. So I decided to just take clips of them, at least do something, so I wasn't just sitting there on my phone saying I want to go home.